Welcome. Today I will be talking to you on practical reasoning. PIS 101. We'll be discussing the first module, Nature of Logic. The outlines of this module will be Introduction to Logic, Definition of Logic, and Technical Terms. The learner's outcome. The learner will be able to comprehend the basic concepts of logic, determine the scope of logic, and gauge its applications. To begin with, nature of logic, or what is logic? Logic, like mathematics, is a formal discipline or a formal science. It has got both form and content. In general, we can say that logic is a thinking process which helps us to come to the correct conclusions by avoiding all the errors from the available data. Every individual, irrespective of who he is, whether a mathematician, an actor, a scientist, and more especially a lawyer and a judge, is bound to use the rules of logic. Do we really require logic? Yes. We know that a man is often moved by his appeals to emotion, or he gets carried away by his emotions, and when he gets carried away by his emotions, he is not able to come to the correct conclusions. So there must be some criteria or principles on the basis of which he can draw the conclusions. But who will provide us with these criteria? There must be somebody to provide us with this. So the logicians have taken up this task of providing us these criteria. To begin with, many attempts were made to define what you mean by the term logic. Initially, they defined the term logic as science of laws of thought. But this definition was not an accurate definition for certain reasons. The first and the foremost reason is thinking is studied by psychologists too. And logic is not a branch of psychology. Psychology, being a science, deals with laws of thought among other things or other beings. Logic is not a branch of psychology but a separate and a distinct field of study. Secondly, why this definition was rejected? What do you mean by the term thought? Or how will you define thought? Thought refers to any process that occurs in a person's mind. If you see that thought refers to any process that occurs in a person's mind, not all thoughts are an object of study of the logicians. The logicians are not interested in all the thoughts which go on in our mind. To take an example, we can say that before we go to the example, they made a very important statement. They say that all reasoning is thinking, but all thinking is not reasoning. What they mean to say is, in all the reasoning that we do is a part of our thinking process. When all the thinking that we do, there might not be any reasoning involved at all. There are many mental processes or kinds of thoughts which go on in our mind, which are very much different from reasoning. For example, one may remember something, one may imagine something or regret it. Or even when you daydream, there's a certain amount of thinking which is going on here, but there is no reasoning involved. So logicians are not interested in these type of thoughts which go on in our mind. So this definition was rejected. Then they gave another definition. The second definition which they gave was, they defined logic as a science of reasoning. But this was considered to be a narrow definition. Reasoning is a special kind of thinking in which problems are solved, in which inferences take place, and which conclusions are drawn. But still, it's a kind of thinking, and therefore a part of the subject matter of the psychologists. So the grounds for rejection, the second definition, are already there in the first. We don't make a claim saying that only logicians arrive at conclusions or only they are involved in the reasoning process. Psychology also involves themselves in the reasoning process. But the way the psychologists examine the reasoning process is very complex, highly emotional. It consists of awkward trial and error procedures illuminated by sudden flashes of insight. But when it comes to the logicians are concerned with the correctness of the completed process. So the logicians arrived at a definition of logic by saying that logic is a study of methods and principles used to distinguish good, that is correct, from bad, that is incorrect reasoning. The logicians, in order to carry on with their work, they dealt with certain technical terms which we all have to know in the course of the paper if you are going to study this particular paper. Some of the technical terms which they used were inference. So what is an inference? An inference is a process by which one proposition is arrived at and affirmed on the basis of one or more other propositions accepted at the starting point of the process. How do we know that our inference is correct? In order to find out our inference is correct, we have to examine the initial propositions along with the ending propositions. Every possible inference is an argument. So what is an argument? How will you define the term argument? An argument is any group of proposition of which one is claimed to follow from the others which are considered as giving support or grounds for the truth of that one. Now let us take an example. All men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. As I told you, what is an argument? Argument is any group of propositions of which one is claimed to follow from the others which are considered as giving support or grounds for the truth of that one. Now if you look at our argument here, the statement Socrates is a man is followed from the first one, all men are mortal. And the last statement, Socrates is mortal, is followed from the other two statements, all men are mortal, Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. Because the earlier two statements give grounds or support for accepting the third statement. As I have just mentioned to you, argument is not just any group of propositions. It has got a particular structure. And what is the structure of an argument? The structure of an argument consists of two parts. One, the premises, and the other is the conclusion. Now what you mean by a premise and what you mean by a conclusion? To define the two, the conclusion of an argument is a proposition that is affirmed on the basis of the other propositions of the argument. And the other propositions which provide support to the conclusion for accepting it are called the premises of an argument. To take an example, all honest men are trusted. All good men are honest. Therefore, all good men are trusted. If you look at this, we realize that the first two statements are our premises. And the third statement, therefore all good men are trusted, that is our conclusion. I said the conclusion of an argument is a proposition that is affirmed on the basis of the other propositions of the argument. So this is the proposition which we have affirmed on the basis of the other propositions. We also have to know that in an argument there can be many premises. There can be one premise, two premises, or there can be even more than that. But we will have only one conclusion. A simple argument consists of just one premise and a conclusion that follows from it. To summarize the module, in this module what we have done is we have defined the term logic and also expect the viewers to have a considerable and a comprehensive knowledge of the various essential and associated technical terms pertaining to this paper. These are your references. Thank you.